My name's Anna Smee and I'm the Managing Director of Thrive. Thrive equips teaching staff to help children and young people understand and manage their emotions so they feel safe, supported and ready to learn. And our approach aligns with Public Health England's 8 principles for a whole school or college approach. It's evidence to improve attendance, behaviour and learning outcomes. But the question is, what does that look like in practice? In practice, it means that Thrive enables teaching staff to understand and apply the Thrive philosophy, which is based on neuroscience and child attachment theory, to complete an online assessment to identify the needs of their individual pupils, small groups or classes, and deliver personalised support tailored to their specific needs. And we also help monitor pupil progress on a termly or annual basis. In terms of my personal ambition, I am passionate about making sure that every child and young person can have access to Thrive to support their social and emotional development so they can really access learning and lifelong opportunities. Thrive was started 25 years ago by a group of ladies who were based in Devon and were experts in variously education, science and child attachment theory. And they recognised the need for us to provide better support to children and young people around their mental health and well-being in a way that wasn't built into the curriculum at that time. So what Thrive did then was really cutting edge. There was no one else in the space offering that ability to train up teaching staff and then give them an online tool that helped them to assess the needs of their pupils and monitor them on an ongoing basis. Obviously, over time, it's developed and evolved, and we're continuously striving to stay ahead of best practice and to constantly build in the latest around things like neuroscience, which has gone away, particularly in the last 10 years, with the advent of things like brain imaging scans that have helped us to better understand reactions to different situations and how the brain develops over time as children grow up and become adults. One of the things that's changed over the last few years is that there's a much greater interest in supporting young people through adolescence. So in the past, we've predominantly worked with primary schools, but increasingly now we're working with earlier settings with nurseries at one end of the development scale, and at the other end, a lot more work with secondary schools in terms of how we can support teenagers. So we've made a big investment into our adolescent offer. Last year, we put a lot of time and money into making sure that the assessment that's available for young people aged from 11 to 25 and the strategies and activities that we recommend doing with them are all expanded, are very comprehensive, age appropriate and based on the latest thinking around neuroscience. So our customers are predominantly the leaders, teachers and teaching assistants in schools, nurseries and colleges. We don't do any work direct with the young people. We are big believers in investing into the staffing teams at those settings so that even if Thrive ceases to be there, they've got the skills and the expertise to continue working with those children and young people long term. And we also understand that they really know the context those young people are living day to day, and that can vary from region to region with different demographics and different ages and stages of development for those children and young people. So we're keen to provide our training, our expertise to the leaders, the teachers, the teaching assistants, and then let them overlay that with their lived experience and their expertise as teachers to give the best possible support to the young people. So in terms of what our commercial model looks like, our commercial model is based on sales of training places and recurring revenue from subscriptions to Thrive Online. The income we generate is then reinvested to continually improve our offer to schools and nurseries and colleges so they can provide the best possible support to children and young people. Today, Thrive operates right across the UK and also increasingly in Australia and New Zealand actually. In response to a growing number of inquiries, we are going to be exploring international opportunities this year, and we're beginning to build our profile overseas through attendance at a number of international conferences. We're starting with a focus on British and international schools in Europe and Middle East. and we're also exploring some exciting partnership opportunities in the United States. If there is anybody listening to this who would like to come and join Thrive and help us, we would love to hear from you. You'd be very welcome. The kind of skills that we're looking for are people that understand digital product development and software development more broadly, particularly with an ability to have one foot in that understanding of customer requirements, what do teaching staff need from us to support children and young people on the one hand, and then on the other hand, how can you actually transform that into a really fantastic digital offer with a compelling user interface and user experience, and that's pretty hard to find. It tends to be people in one camp or the other, so that combination of skills is really critical for us to develop a product that really works in practice in a school. We also take a very relational approach at Thrive, so we're all about building personal relationships between us and the teaching staff, and then supporting our customers to build those strong personal relationships with the pupils in their setting. Next year for 2023, we have a number of really exciting things on our product development roadmap. So we are looking at areas like being able to roll up all our data so that you can view not just an individual class, but right across the school, right across a multi-academy trust, and right across a local authority, how all of the pupils in that region or organisation are doing from a social and emotional development perspective. We are looking to integrate our data better with other information management systems so that you can see the full picture of a young person from both their mental health and wellbeing perspective and their academic attainment and attendance point of view. We are looking at introducing multi-tenant configurations, which would enable people in different geographical locations to use Thrive to fit with their term time rhythm. So at the moment, we tend to run from September through to July in line with the UK curriculum. That's different if you're operating in New Zealand and Australia, for example, and other parts of the world. So we're looking to reflect that. We would like to help people transfer data between settings. So at the moment, if your pupil moves from a nursery to a primary school to a secondary school, we can support you to move that data, but it's quite a manual process, and we'd like to empower our customers to be able to automate those processes. We measure success at Thrive on a number of different dimensions. So first and foremost for us, it's about social impact. We are very excited to reach as many children and young people as possible and to help transform their lives. And the impact of Thrive really can be transformational. We get incredible stories back from the children themselves and from staff who are working with them about just how much Thrive training has transformed their experience in the classroom. So for example, children who found it very difficult to manage their emotions and their anger, who now feel really comfortable and confident doing that, and it's enabled them to have an enjoyable and fun time in the classroom where perhaps before that was quite a frightening or stressful place for them to be. So we feel very passionately about that across the Thrive team. Technology is changing very fast, and I think we're just starting to see the positive impact of that in the education space. Whether you're looking at teachers' ability to use AI to help them plan lessons, for example, which is freeing time then to focus much more, which I think are critical, like personal support for each individual pupil. Or whether you're thinking about the ability to put technology in the hands of pupils, really young children as young as 6 or 7, so that they can determine what their learning journey looks like themselves. These are really interesting avenues to be exploring, and I think we need to be completely rethinking our education system and looking at it from a perspective of the skills that our children will need to have as adults in a changing world. And Thrive is right there at the heart of that. We can already support teaching staff to provide a personalised learning journey for young people around their social and emotional skills. I think tools like Thrive enable us to support young people's social and emotional development and ensure they're resilient in the future, that they have confidence to be creative, to understand themselves and what their strengths are and know how to play to those strengths. And these will be critical skills, particularly as people navigate careers that are likely to be changing rapidly, where they may do one job for a short period of time and then a different job, where they may well have to adapt to a world that is changing quickly. And so that ability to know what you want and to understand where you fit and to not feel derailed when things change or unexpected things confront you, I think is more and more important, and it won't be sufficient for our young people to be good at rote learning information and using that to apply it to a problem, because it won't be the right information for the kinds of problems that they will have to tackle in the future. Winning the Digital Education Awards has definitely got Thrive recognised as an EdTech business for the first time. So we've really been doing, offering a technical solution a bit under the radar. And so it's very exciting for us that that's now recognised as the core part of our business, which it absolutely is. So Thrive Online is critical to enable teaching staff to do the evaluation of their pupils and serve up bespoke solutions and strategies to support them. I would love the world to know that Thrive is a simple but incredibly effective tool that should be in the hands of every educator. Sometimes I have to fight quite hard to explain that Thrive is not something that is softly, but has very specific and quantitative outcomes in actual fact. And there's a growing amount of evidence to prove the link between the work that we do at Thrive and behaviour, attendance in schools and academic outcomes. So I'm excited to talk to people more about that. I'm excited to do more evaluation, more research to prove those links. And I really hope that people will recognise that this is a critical part of education for any young person, that it's not just about academic learning, that many young people will succeed or fail in their lives as a result of their emotional and social skills, not as a result of their academic qualifications. Their ability to build relationships, to engender trust, to lead people, to work as part of a team, to have strong emotional resilience, to be able to weather ups and downs, are the things that actually will determine whether or not they're happy, healthy, successful human beings. And I really hope that that message comes home for more people, and that we get strong government support around that, and that parents and carers feel proud talking about those achievements for their children.